What if I told you the most romantic vehicle on Earth isn't, it's not a sleek red Ferrari,
Right.
but a Dodge Magnum pulling into a suburban driveway?
I mean, it doesn't sound very glamorous, that's for sure.
It really doesn't. But that is exactly the kind of reality check we're getting into today. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone.
Glad to be here.
For you joining us, today's mission is pulling apart a really vivid narrative poem. It's titled In the Mood.
Yeah, it's a great piece of source material.
It totally is. And we're looking at the actual mechanics of domestic intimacy. Like, how does mundane, chaotic, everyday life actually fuel passion rather than just, kill it?
Right, because we're so conditioned to think of romance as existing in this perfect vacuum.
Oh, exactly. Like a movie set.
Yeah, the popular fantasy is this totally frictionless environment. There are no bills to pay, no laundry piling up, definitely no kids interrupting.
But this poem, this isn't a dusty, abstract piece of literature at all.
Not at all. It's a masterclass in pacing, really. It argues the exact opposite of that fantasy. It suggests that the friction of real life is actually the catalyst for, well, the deepest kind of connection.
And it does not waste any time making that point either.
No, right out of the gate.
Yeah, it completely dismantles the idea of traditional courtship immediately. We have our protagonist, and he's standing at the sink. It's exactly 11:35 in the morning, and he's washing dishes.
Very romantic.
Right, totally unromantic. And suddenly he gets a text from his wife, who is at the office, saying she is coming home early.
And she doesn't just say she's coming home.
No, she tells him to ditch the kids because she needs his, quote, services to calm this fit.
Yeah, that phrasing is...
I read that and immediately thought, wait, services?
It's very transactional.
Yeah, it sounds like she's calling a plumber. Where is the romance in that kind of blunt demand?
Well, what's fascinating here is what is actually absent in that exchange.
Okay, what do you mean?
There is absolutely no ambiguity. Think about early stage dating.
Oh, it's exhausting.
It is. You're carefully crafting texts. You're reading between the lines.
Trying not to seem too eager.
Exactly. But this midday text exchange is the polar opposite of that performance.
It's like a subtly startle reflex in a quiet room, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just doing a soapy chore and boom, the room is electrified.
Yeah, it uses heavily transactional language, like you said, I'm going to need your services. But that transaction is built on a foundation of absolute psychological safety.
So basically, doesn't this kind of blunt midday text exchange say a lot about the comfort level and directness of a long-term relationship?
It says everything. She doesn't need to dress up her desire in flowery poetry.
Or light candles to set a mood.
Right. The fact that she can hit him with a direct, almost aggressive request while he has his hands in soapy dishwater.
While he's literally doing the dishes, yeah.
It establishes this baseline of deep, comfortable familiarity between them. The directness itself becomes the aphrodisiac.
Because it just completely bypasses all those performative hurdles we normally associate with, initiation.
Precisely. It's efficient, but in a very passionate way.
It's like flipping a massive breaker switch in a house.
Yeah.
You go from the low hum of domestic chores instantly into high voltage.
That's a great way to put it.
But, okay, here is my issue with the whole spontaneous midday romance trope.
Okay, let's hear it.
In movies, people just drop what they're doing and, fall into bed.
Right, the laundry just waits.
Exactly. But in reality, passion requires intense project management.
Oh, absolutely.
And if I have to start negotiating with toddlers and calculating travel times, my brain is immediately out of the mood.
Yeah, the logistics can be a real mood killer for most people.
Right. So how does this poem reconcile the sheer logistics of parenting with romantic anticipation?
Well, it doesn't reconcile them. It forces them to coexist.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the protagonist doesn't ignore the logistics. He actually leans into them.
He texts back, no problem, right?
Right. And he notes that this is his, quote, favorite job.
Yeah.
But the very next lines aren't about him getting into a seductive mindset.
No, they're pure panic mode.
Basically. They are about him feeding the kids and marching them 3 houses down to a neighbor's place.
Which brings up, honest to God, the funniest line in the whole text.
The negotiation part.
Yes, he banishes the kids and tells them to be back in an hour. Then, in the exact same breath, he amends it.
An hour, no two.
An hour, no two. It's this hilarious internal bargaining.
He's buying himself time.
But I have to push back a little on the idea that this is just a funny parenting joke.
Okay.
Is the hyper-focus on logistics here actually heightening the anticipation? Or is it just a funny reminder of the hurdles of parenting?
Oh, it is definitely heightening it. That is a brilliant way to interpret it.
Because to me, it feels like the project management is almost functioning as foreplay.
It absolutely is. The ticking clock between that 11:35 a.m. text and her arrival at 3 p.m. EM acts as a pressure cooker.
A 3.5-hour countdown.
Exactly. For parents, or frankly anyone sharing a busy household, an empty house is not a natural state of being.
Oh, it's a miracle.
It's a highly elusive, manufactured luxury. You have to actively engineer the emptiness.
By showing us the frantic feeding, the dropping off, the time negotiation.
The poet highlights the massive effort required just to clear the runway, so to speak. The logistics are the friction that builds the heat.
You're manufacturing the vacuum you mentioned earlier. You have to forcefully push the chaotic world out the door for a couple of hours.
And once that space is cleared, the perception of mundane objects completely shifts.
Right.
Which brings us back to your opening thought about the car. The text specifically highlights the arrival of the Dodge Magnum in the driveway.
Right. I mean, you could just picture it. It's a station wagon.
Very practical.
It probably has, like, crushed Cheerios in the back seat and juice box stains. It is the ultimate anchor of suburban reality.
But look at the reaction it triggers in the poem. The sight of that station wagon pulling into the driveway makes his face break into a massive smile.
Because she's finally here.
Yes. In that specific, highly engineered moment, the car transforms.
It's no longer just the grocery hauler.
Exactly. It sheds that identity and becomes this chariot delivering his partner to a completely empty house.
That is so true.
The poet is showing us how deeply context changes everything in a long-term relationship. For parents, finding an empty house is so rare that the countdown to her arrival becomes incredibly charged.
The anticipation makes the mundane extraordinary.
Beautifully said.
Okay, so the schedule's cleared, the obstacles, the kids are 3 houses down, and the Dodge Magnum has arrived.
The runway is clear.
Right. And this is where the poem shifts gears entirely. The structure of the text actually mirrors what happens to you physically when you transition from, like, frantic project manager to intimate partner.
It really slows down.
Yeah, because as soon as he opens that front door, the practical world just evaporates. He notices her subtle fragrance filling the place.
It's a very sensory shift.
It is. The poem says, as I walk toward the room, it seems like she is in every space.
We move completely out of the external logistical reality and drop straight into an internal sensory experience.
And he finds her in the bedroom, and she gives him this seductive grin, whispering for him to come in.
The language really narrows its focus here.
Right. The poem reads, her day has finished, and so has her wait. She knows I'm loaded and ready to participate.
It's very direct.
But here's where it gets really interesting, at least to me. Because the next few lines challenge a lot of the conventional wisdom we hear about keeping a relationship alive.
Oh, how so?
Well, couples therapists are constantly telling us we need to introduce mystery, right? We need to surprise our partners, keep them guessing to maintain the spark.
That is the standard advice, yeah.
But this poem argues that predictability is actually the main driver of the heat.
Okay, where are you seeing that in the text?
Well, as he walks to the bed, she shifts her body and her leg, quote, leaks out. And his internal monologue says, I've seen that trick before and know what it's all about.
Ah, right. Seen that trick before.
Exactly. And then his hand moves, quote, without sending a signal, and just automatically slides up her thigh.
There's a real familiarity there.
There is zero mystery here.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what the leg movement means. His hand knows exactly where to go without a conscious thought.
It's muscle memory.
Yes, muscle memory. And yet the tension is off the charts. It made me realize that maybe we, I don't know, undervalue the sexiness of deep fluency.
That is a very sharp observation. We often conflate novelty with passion.
Right. If it's not new, it's not exciting.
Exactly. But what the poet is illustrating here is the immense power of a shared physical vocabulary.
A shared vocabulary. I like that.
When you have been with someone for years, your bodies communicate in shorthand. Like the text says, without sending a signal, my hand has already made its move.
He doesn't have to guess what she wants.
No, and he doesn't have to worry about misreading the situation. That complete absence of anxiety allows for total presence in the moment.
It's like a heavily rehearsed dance. The fact that both partners know the steps perfectly is what allows them to perform it with such intensity.
That's a great analogy.
You aren't looking at your feet. You are entirely focused on the connection.
And you can actually feel the poet enforcing that deep presence through the structural pacing of this section.
Yeah, the rhythm definitely changes.
The meter and the verb choices fundamentally shift. Earlier, we had a very frantic staccato rhythm, getting the text, washing the dishes, feeding the kids, dropping them off.
Just boom, boom, boom.
Right. The verbs were all action-oriented and urgent, but once we enter the bedroom, the text actively applies the brakes.
You really do feel time slowing down as you read it.
We get words like calmly, slowly, sliding. The sensory details become hyper-focused.
Like the soft, faint moan.
Exactly, and the pelvic quiver. The poet is manipulating the pacing to force the reader to experience that same slowing of time that happens during deep intimacy.
The outside world is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, but inside this room, time is almost standing still.
And within that slowed down space, there's a really fascinating interplay of power.
Yeah, the poem mentions her playfully trying to resist him. It says, "She feels I'm in her space as she playfully tries to resist, but futility abounds in her will as I slip a stolen kiss."
Now, in a different context, words like futility and resist might sound concerning.
Yeah, a little bit.
But here, they function as part of that deeply understood choreography.
It's a mutually agreed upon game.
Exactly. The concept of futile resistance in this specific, highly trusted environment is a form of comfortable consent.
They're playing out a dynamic of pursuit and capture, but they both know exactly where the boundaries are.
It is a scene of total synchronization. They have successfully built this private, perfect bubble. The tension is peaking. She grabs his hips to pull him close.
And then the record scratch.
Yep, the collision.
The collision. Just as we hit the absolute emotional and physical crescendo of the poem, reality kicks the door in.
Literally puts it in.
Literally. There's a sudden, loud knocking at the front door.
The inescapable reality of domestic life reasserting itself.
And it's the neighbor, Sid. Good old Sid, returning one of the kids early.
So much for that an hour no-to negotiation.
Right. The bubble is just violently popped. And I have to say, reading this, I felt genuinely angry at Sid.
Oh, I'm sure the protagonist did too.
It feels tragic to have this beautifully constructed moment ruined so aggressively.
Yeah.
How does the text handle that emotional whiplash?
The jarring shift.
I mean, how jarring is it to have to snap your identity from eager lover back to comforting father in the span of a single knock on a door? It seems psychologically impossible.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the poem handles it by treating it not as a choice, but as a biological override.
A biological override.
Yeah. You mentioned feeling angry at Sid. The protagonist feels it too. He has a momentary flash of intense resentment.
Yeah, his internal monologue screams, "Go away, Sid."
Exactly. That is the lover fighting for survival. But the very next line says that reality, quote, flooded in, and he instantly reverts to real daddy comfort mode once more.
Flooded in. Not trickled. It just completely washes the fantasy away.
Exactly. The transition back to daddy mode isn't a deliberate decision. He sits and ponders while the door is open.
He doesn't weigh his options.
No. When a child is at the door, the protective instinct of the parent immediately overrides the desire of the partner.
The lover is forced to instantly exit the stage so the father can step up.
Right. It perfectly illustrates the dual roles parents are forced to juggle constantly. You don't get the luxury of easing out of one role and into another.
You just have to snap.
You have to snap. And while it might feel tragic in the moment, it is also profoundly comedic because it is so universally true.
It really is.
The thematic core of this entire text is the inescapable fragility of the adult domestic fantasy.
You can engineer the empty house.
You can negotiate the time,
You can build the perfect sensory bubble.
but you are never truly isolated. The lover is constantly living in the margins of the parent.
Wow.
The romance has to survive in the stolen moments between 11:35 a.m. and whenever reality decides to knock on the door.
Which really is the ultimate takeaway here. We go on this complete life cycle of modern romance in just a few stanzas.
It covers so much ground.
It does. We start with the soapy dishes and the blunt midday text. We navigate the frantic babysitting logistics to clear the runway. We drop into this incredibly sensory, deeply fluent intimacy.
And it all ends with the inevitable comical knock of reality.
Yes. And for you listening out there, it forces a reflection on how we all manage our own fragmented identities. We all juggle different versions of ourselves.
We do.
You have the professional self, the parent self, the partner self. This poem really makes you ask yourself, how fast can you shift gears?
Right.
When reality unexpectedly knocks on your door, can you snap from one identity to the other without losing your sense of self?
And that requirement to context switch so violently actually leaves us with a really important, lingering question about the text.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, the entire narrative, this whole emotional arc, is told strictly from the husband's point of view.
Right, he's the narrator.
We see his mundane morning, his frantic preparation, his surrender to the intimacy, and his ultimate snap back into daddy comfort mode. But consider the wife's perspective for a moment.
Oh, that is fascinating because she is the one who set this whole thing in motion.
Exactly. She was the architect. She deliberately left the office early. She likely had to rearrange her own professional responsibilities, commuting back in that Dodge Magnum specifically to escape her daily roles and reclaim this physical connection.
She put in a lot of work for this.
She did. So when that knocking started, we know the husband's instinct was to instantly become dad again. But what must have crossed her mind in that exact split-second moment?
Wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Was she just as quick to let the fantasy go and shift back into mom mode? Or did the interruption hit her entirely differently?
Because she was the one who engineered the whole afternoon.
Right. Perhaps she felt a much deeper sense of frustration, given the massive logistical hurdles she jumped through just to orchestrate that short window of time.
That completely changes the weight of that image. Because we only see his whiplash. We are completely blind to hers.
Exactly.
And it really brings us full circle to the reality of these relationships. I mean, we all chase that movie set romance, right? That
Yeah.
frictionless environment where the door stays locked and the world outside just doesn't exist.
But that's just a fantasy.
It is. The truth this poem exposes is that real love, the kind of intimacy that actually survives the station wagons, the soapy dishes, and the inevitable knocks on the door, it has to be incredibly resilient.
It has to survive the messy, murky, constantly interrupted reality of just being alive.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. It's been a really eye-opening conversation. We'll catch you next time.